Hello.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everybody.
Were you laughing already?
No, we have this sort of funny joke. Like I'll say sometimes, if it weren't for the last minute, we'd never get anything done. Sometimes even the last minute isn't quite enough. But
Yeah,
that said, here we are.
we got our tea and we're here. And I'm
The
like, quick.
dogs are all settled down.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
like, quick, shut that window behind or shut the curtain behind you because he had this like glow, So here we are. If anyone doesn't know my better half, this is Duncan.
Hello.
Duncan Honig. Yes, and he's one of my fabulous moderators too. And speaking of moderators, I got something to say about that, but I just want to say some good mornings. We have Joel. Good morning, Joel. It's Duncan and Marilyn with Talk from the Holler.
Yep,
I
there you
like
go.
that.
Yep.
I like that.
Holler talk.
Creepy Holler Talk. Creepy V5. Hello, hello. Cat. Hello. Another mod. Oh, and another
Sunrise
mod.
dawn.
Hey. Yeah. Good morning from chilly North Georgia. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's chilly in Georgia even.
I wonder.
It's supposed to rain here though, right?
I know it's supposed to get it. I
definitely
skied
gone.
yesterday for the first time, and now we're supposed to get an inch of rain tonight. Now what a skier wants to hear.
I know.
What are you gonna
Groomer
do?
20. Hello, darling. Sophia. Yay. Good to see you guys.
Pup groomer.
And ladies and everybody.
Cat. Creepy B5.
Yeah. Hats off to you. Hello. Hello.
Joel is here.
Yep. Joel is here. Yay. Love it. Hey, love it.
Hello.
Love me some love it. Hey, what's we got? Oh, there she is. Hey, Liz Ferris. Hi, sweetheart.
Yeah. Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And we've got pause for Andrea. Hello, Marilyn Rose. Greetings to my fellow S-Peeps Global from Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, coming from another country here.
Yeah. Keila, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you, honey. George Massey, just let us know how the sound is too, guys. We're sharing a mic here, so
hoping we're balanced.
Yeah, I'm probably loud, so I want it to be closer to you than me. So George Massey, hi, Marilyn Duncan, the dynamic duo of the holler. Absolutely true. Maya, hello, hi Maya. Hey. And we've got Bobby Ballinger, morning from rainy cold Kentucky. Hey, wow.
Cool.
Hey, Lene. Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you all.
Yep.
Great to see
pouring
you.
in.
Okay, here we are. I got a little bit of housekeeping, but Duncan's got some notes. So
yeah, I'm not going to go
all different types
totally
of things.
hardcore in an NDA thing today because I'm not entirely ready, and we have a lot of different material to cover. So I will touch on it. I will take questions.
Yeah,
I'm just continuing to dig in. I find it extremely fascinating. So there's much to be said when the time is right.
Yeah. All right. So a little. Oh, I see Ev. Hey, Ev. Good morning, guys. As usual, I'll be in and out because of the pup. Totally understandable. Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. Hi, everybody. And I had a couple of things I wanted to show you, and I unfortunately didn't get it totally set. But a little bit of housekeeping. Yesterday, I went through the chat on the replay a little bit, and I decided to. I very, very, very rarely. I'm trying to think how many times I've done this. Very rarely removed anyone. Hid them from my channel. I don't know if they can. Maybe it's muted. They can maybe still comment, but no one's going to see it because I listen to feedback from my regular viewers, and there was somebody that was only showing up when we were talking about things that were semi-controversial and just arguing the whole time. And I don't believe in censorship. I don't like to stifle people. But if someone is basically trolling the chats, tagging everyone, arguing with them, making the same argumentative points over and over and over, and stating their opinion as fact and just cramming it down their throat, I gave this person quite a bit of chances and they're gone. So for the sake of everyone feeling comfortable and be able to express themselves without being attacked, that person. And if you're a regular, you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I know some other, bigger channels can probably absorb it, but we are, we're kind of an intimate group sometimes. And I do want to, we're not a cult, coffee cults and crafts doesn't mean we're a cult. It means that I just want it to feel homey. And if one person is making everybody else uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but they can move on. So, yeah. So
trolls take warning.
Say that. Yeah. 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 No trolls. We don't need any trolls. So good to see you. Liz is catching. Oh, she'll be going on later on this morning. Are you going on soon, Liz? Oh, we might have to hurry up.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. At 9:15. Oh, all right.
California time.
Yeah,
right?
I want to catch because I want to catch it too. California. Oh yeah. I know the time zones get me all mixed up sometimes.
I know.
Yeah.
We got people around the globe here. That's
yeah.
interesting.
I meant to grab some water, but sorry, I got tea. Tea's good. Tea for two.
Tea is good.
Tea for two. Oh, you're here. Okay, honey. I'm glad you're still here. Yeah, just let us know when you're going on because I definitely want to catch that because I missed yesterday. So yeah. So all right. Here we are. We definitely want to keep getting your input and anything that's on your mind and your heart. I have been opening things up to talk about things, and I don't want to be like, okay, we're done talking about that. Let's move on and just pretend that nothing's happening and talk about things that don't interest anybody. So I've been just listening to all of you, and I asked Duncan to join me because I know that you all love him, and if you've never met him, you will. I think you'll like him a lot. He's my better half. He's my smart half. And he's been kind of watching what's going on and has some thoughts to share with you all. And we have a comment. Apostate Alex, love and compassion is a way forward. Got to keep the chat welcoming and inclusive, and yours always seems to be that. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's very true.
I try to
very
be
true.
authentic. I really try to be forthcoming. And if I say I'm going to do something, I keep my word. I really, really try as much as I can to have, integrity and try to be real. This isn't a game for me. This isn't about money or subscribers. It really is. We went through hell. We've gone through hell in our cult, and we know so many of you ex-Scientologists that have absolutely gone through hell. You were born into it, or you didn't, had to escape from it physically. There's scars that you've borne because of it, and I just I'm looking at Liz. Yeah, we're here to support everyone, and we all have things that we've been through. So we love you guys, and we're here. We're here.
Yep. Yeah, I'll add to that a tiny bit. I'll just touch on the NDE thing in a very positive way. Is most people, in fact, almost all of them say the main emphasis when they've come back is that the most important thing there is love, and that is the constructive force that is in the world. And kindness is love in action. That's what a lot of them will say. It's like kindness to others is love in action, and that most of us, well, pretty much all of us have some purpose or mission for being here. The main part of that is to learn about life itself and things, and about love and how important it is. So what's going on in this little group is actually what's supposed to be happening. And I don't want to open Pandora's box by starting to talk about something I don't have time to go way into, but I'll leave it at that. Love in action and concern and caring for one another, empathy. These are all the takeaways that most of these people bring back with them.
You're talking about people that had near-death experiences.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm kind of the SP or the never in I'm a never in as far as the near death thing goes, because I have not had an actual near death experience, but everything to do with it pretty much resonates with my personal experiences, which have been close to, but not to be included in that category. But these people have come back with that realization that, we're all one. We really are. And in the end, it's taking care of one another that is going to make the difference. And the more people that are geared to doing positive, I mean, ultimately, it's going to have the effect of the world is changed by each one of us deciding to contribute good and to do what we can to move the world in a positive direction. And that'll ultimately overwhelm the forces that are not good, of which this planet is filled. I mean, there's free will
I'm sorry,
exists
honey.
here, so
You know I'm a little bit of a skeptic about that, but I agree with everything. No, I agree with
I'm trying to
everything you're
keep it to
saying.
things that are understandable, because
Yeah,
this
no
really
matter
can get out there.
where,
But
yeah, no matter what happens after, you know, we move on from this, whatever, drop our body, however you want to say it. No matter what happens, I don't know. I don't think that anybody really knows for sure. People, and I don't, there's faith, and I understand, we have a difference of opinion as far as like he's a believer, in something out there. I think that there is something out there, but I just, I don't have like a knowing of it. So, but I totally agree with everything you're saying. That when, we're here now today, and we can make a difference, and we can do good. And I believe in, like, I have what I have in front of me, I know for today. So like, I spent so much time like believing in something that now I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life seeking for something and not actually living where I am. So
well, we've all been damaged in different ways and traumatized, and most of us are survivors of something. Even our own bad personal experiences. It doesn't have to be in a cult. It could be in a bad family situation. It could be a bad personal situation, an abusive relationship. So the way I see it is we all share a common bond, in that we've come to a point of realizing there's more, and that we want to see life be better for people. So again, the NDE thing, the main takeaway is, I'll just call this force love. But people that have come back with the realization that the love that they encounter on the other side is so overwhelming that it's non-judgmental. It defies a lot of the religious norms and teachings. A lot of the people that have come back from NDEs are non-religious. I mean, people have gone over there as atheists and drug addicts and all kinds of things, and met an overwhelming love that turned their life around. And I had an experience like that without having an NDE years ago. That's, I think, what got me on a spiritual path of wanting to know more. And I think it's just starting to come to a point of, I get it now. I think I get it. I understand more than I ever did. Things are falling into place. And people that have actually been to the other side and come back have firsthand experience with this, which is just amazing, because it confirms so many things that I was starting to understand without knowing why or where it was coming from. So, just to throw it out there, we're on a good track, just helping each other out, being part of a community that cares.
Absolutely. Love It asked, has anyone seen Let Us Pray, a ministry of scandals? No, write that down.
Say what?
That. Let Us Pray. Interesting. That sounds really interesting. I'll write that down. Although I could just play the replay and get it, but yeah, that looks interesting. Sophia said, you don't need to argue beyond a point of respecting others' points of view on it. Yeah, exactly. And if someone just keeps, shoving it down people's throats, after a while, they're a troll.
Approach,
no, I just mean like, in the chats, it's like, I want everybody to feel comfortable. Support for all. I am. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lori Plays says, I have 2 close friends who have had an NDE, near-death experience, if you're just joining us. Totally believe.
Cool. Very cool.
So there you go. You've got.
Yeah, and I know Love It expressed a similar thing.
Love It. Yeah. So you got 2 on board.
Yeah.
Miss Sunrise Dawn, I'm for all people expressing their views and opinions. When they start disrespecting other people's views and opinions, that's crossing the line. Very well said. You said it way better than I could have. Love it says, even if someone has had an NDE, it's not the same as fully moving on, and there's so much we don't know.
Yeah, very true.
That is
people,
very
it's
true.
one fascinating thing with NDEs is people are shown not all the same thing. I mean, a lot of it's the same, but yet everybody's experience is sort of customized in its own interesting way. A lot of it based on the context of where they came out of. So it's like they will picture things and understand things through the window that they're looking through, their own lens on life. And things are sort of like customly attuned to where they're coming from, so they'll understand, which is fascinating, you know.
Yep. All right, I'm just going through a couple of things. And Joel, our friend Joel, who always brings the wisdom, words of wisdom. A wise man once told me, you can disagree without being mean. That is not communication, it's fighting. Right.
Yeah.
You will get your point across only with understanding. Right.
Yeah, well, falling into anger and things is a kind of a weakness, like a wrong way to go generally with these things, because it's almost like we think we're better, we got to suppress what they're saying, or we're afraid of what they're saying. There's all these fear type motives that will cause people to react badly. And I'm kind of coming to the realization, like, ultimately you got to keep going back to the idea that we're all one, and we've all come from different places, and there's nothing anyone's done. And I'll go back, and anybody that, any of the late, the recent scandalous things that seem to be happening, they're things we're all capable of doing. And we're not too far removed from any of these people in terms of what we could have done or we could do. We've all got pasts, we've all got dirt, and none of us are perfect. So it's like, we got to be careful we don't judge too harshly. And even if I don't want to get a wrong conversation going, but just thinking about what's been going on lately, there's two ways I look at it. And one of them is simply that Scientology, being called, trained people to be abusive and hardened and uncaring and unempathetic and really damaged. So we're dealing with people that were damaged by Scientology. And it sounds like a joke, but it's not. It's like you can take a person out of Scientology, which can be difficult, but it may be even harder to take the Scientology out of the person. So we're dealing with a lot of people that were trained to be hardened and abusive and mean and dishonest and all types of stuff. And my feeling is, okay, so there's been some back and forth lately, with the whole thing, and it's not over. And I feel like this, the worst form of unforgiveness to me is not letting somebody make right or fix their situation. So
Right.
I think, ultimately this isn't over. It isn't done with. So my hope is that both sides of this latest thing will result in everybody coming clean, because to me, openness and transparency builds trust. And people that own their stuff and confess it generally receive forgiveness, because it's like, okay, they admitted to it. They let it all out there. Or maybe a lot of it. They're making progress. They're moving in the right direction by owning their mistakes. And if you try to cover up your mistakes and hide from them or deny them, you're just going to make people angry, and they're going to want to expose you and undo you. And this is a learning experience. And another thing, touching on the NDE thing, the main reason we're here on this earth plane now is to learn. And there's a lot we need to learn, and we're all here to learn different things. And sometimes the learning comes through these painful exchanges. And I even realize it for myself. I'm like, don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to fail. Try your hardest, but get out there and get in the game. Do your best. And if you fail, this is part of your learning experience. You're getting what they call course correcting feedback from your failures and mistakes. Don't be afraid. That's okay. It'll wash away.
Course correcting feedback.
Yeah. Well,
basically I get it. You're learning from your mistake. And that's a good point as far as I've said this a few times in some of the other dramas that seem to come up in SPTV, where we've been doing this about 6 months here. And we've had some other things happen. And sometimes when you're going on a certain trajectory and there needs to be a correction, like you said, course correction, things kind of come to a head. And you're like, oh, you can either ignore it and keep going and end up making things worse.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of, slow down and just be like, okay, let's take stock here. Let's think about what mistakes were made. And yeah, we don't need to do like a big, to do about it and crucify people or ethics handle them or whatever religion you want to say, like the words, the language is different, but the tendencies are the same. So we're not, when you point something out, you're not saying that person is bad. You're just saying the behavior needs to be,
They screwed
corrected.
up. And I'll tell you a tiny
They
little
screwed up.
story. Okay, I'll tell you a tiny little story. This is actually funny because I used to work with a guy. I did a lot of construction in my past. I was a carpenter, and I worked with a guy. We were both had become good carpenters, and we were sort of the A team in our company. And I was a guy when I was young, like I didn't like mistakes. I hated mistakes. I sort of had that complex about being called out and making mistakes, so I didn't want to make mistakes. And I remember one time we were framing a house and we were working on the roof frame. And at one point, something like a piece of like a 2x4 or something was a quarter of an inch too long. And I was not in the mood. I hated working backward. That was one of my things. Working backward was an admission of mistakes made and of failure. But here was the problem is you slam in a 2x4 that's a quarter of an inch too long and you beat it into place, you throw some nails in it and you move forward. Well, guess what? The next thing that's got to go on is the plywood for the roof. Well, now the plywood's not quite right. You cut it and it's a little off because of that quarter inch in the framing. So you have to correct the plywood now in order to keep moving. But then if you didn't cut the plywood enough and it carried the mistake forward, now the next piece doesn't line up with the piece next to it quite right. And the ultimate lesson was one mistake not corrected will screw up the whole process and it'll keep moving it down the road and messing you up. So one time this guy, and he was kind of a jerk and a hothead, and we had a love-hate relationship. Like he was a good guy in some ways. He could be a good guy, but he had a bad temper and he could be an asshole.
Was this our cult leader's son?
Yeah. So I'm just saying
he was anointed. He's next in line to take over when she dies, which may be soon. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like anybody, he wasn't all bad, and he did have some good. What he said, one thing that stuck with me. This is really interesting. He said, Duncan.
Nobody's all bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said one time, he said, Duncan, you know what? The only mistakes in the end are the ones you don't fix. And I'm like, you know what? That was like Confucius said, but he had a simple, logical mind in a way where he would think of things in a way that would almost be too simple to just come up with. But they made sense. So that stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, you know what? In the end, like if you're working on a painting or a project or anything, the only mistakes in the end are the ones you don't fix. So if you keep going and you fix your mistakes, your end product is going to be good. If not perfect, it will be really good. So then ever after that, I'm like, that made a lot of sense. And so anyway, these people, anybody that screws up anything, if they fix the mistake, in the end, it's not on their record as a mistake anymore. It's fixed. It's gone. So we're going to throw that one in there.
That makes a lot of sense. I got some things I started. I'm going to go through. Pup Groomer said, Pup Groomer 20, who wants a 10-year-old who keeps putting their cold as ice, probably feet on me?
Oof.
Just kidding.
Doesn't sound comfortable.
It's cold here. Ev Barney, here's my thing about NDEs, near-death experiences. I have to keep saying that because somebody's just tuning in. People have such a variety of experiences. Many of them conflict. That does not mean to me that they're not seeing the forever, only that it is filtered. That's interesting.
Yeah, and they've come back, like somebody pointed out earlier. The people that don't come back are done with this life, so we're not going to hear input from them. People that come back are only shown, most, if not all, well, not all, obviously not all, but a lot of these experiences are literally somebody's laying in the hospital and they just passed away because of a heart attack or something. People are trying to save them. And the amazing thing is they'll leave on these, what I call OBEs, out of body experiences. Well, they'll leave the body. And sometimes they don't even realize it's their body for a while. They're out of their body. And then they go through an experience that seems like it takes hours or even weeks or even months, because on the other side, there's no time. So they're going through something that seems like it goes on for a long time. They travel vast distances and various things like this and are shown things. And then they come back thinking that weeks or months have elapsed. And when they get back in their body, seconds, minutes have elapsed, and they're utterly floored because then these people are like aware they've come back. So somebody's working on someone on an operating table and they finally jumpstart them or whatever. And the person pops awake and they're like, oh, we brought him back. Cool. And they don't know that person just went through a life-changing, massive experience. And when they try to explain it, people are, oh my God, you're crazy. It's the morphine. It's this, it's that. It's a drug. It's hallucination. It's your body, your brain breaking down, all kinds of reasoning, because people are used to thinking in terms of this physical realm only, and they don't grasp the idea that it's not the whole story. In fact, I have a whole dissertation I'll do on another stream because I literally
he needs to tell him he needs his own channel.
I know, I'm aware. I'm looking into it, but anyway, But I'm saying there's a lot more
need this,
meets the eye. There is a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go through.
Yeah, I don't want to ignore anyone.
Liz Ferris, smash the like and hit subscribe. Thank you, Liz. Yes, please. That would be amazing, guys. Thank you. Hats off to you. Never judge anyone, especially while looking through a dirty window. Yep.
That's the size of it.
Yep. You're right. Oh, nice. Love it. Kelly Copter, looking forward to your live. Yes. Kelly will be on at 2. Okay, I want to get this right. Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's in 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Yeah. So yeah. So you got me and then Liz and then Kelly. And make sure you're subscribed to Liz Ferris at Pokemon and Cult and Kelly Copter at Kelly Copter. Sophia said, I grew up Catholic. It feels wrong to me to be judgy because it keeps you stuck in a place that gets in the way of progress due to fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's totally confirmed by people who have come back from the NDE thing too, is there's no judgment. Like literally, there's no judgment. The love is overwhelming and people are they don't expect to be received. Some of them had thought they were going to hell, literally. There's plenty of people that can attest to that. They thought they were toast. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. What's happening? Where's the judgment? Where's all this terrible stuff that I was expecting to happen to me? And even atheists, hardcore atheists, are accepted and loved, and blows all this judgmental stuff away.
Yeah, Joel said, I've never had an NDE, but I know folks that have. I don't really know, and who I am, I say that is not okay. Sorry, I don't really know, and who am I to say that is not real? Right. Yeah, that's how I am, because exactly. I'm like, I don't know. So an open mind is a way to learn. I'm sure there is more that I don't know than I do. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's like one of these things. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And honestly, I've been listening to these things probably 3 to 5 of them a day, anywhere between like 20 minutes and an hour. I just, any odd time I have where I'm not doing anything else, I'll just tune in when I'm eating lunch or having coffee or anything, And it's absolutely amazing. But I've probably well over 100 at this point, and I feel like the more information, like as a scientific person, I don't consider myself an idiot. I don't want to be bowled over with nonsense. But here's the thing. 1 or 2 stories out there might seem like, that's just anecdotal. That's not enough as a sample to base anything off of. Well, hundreds of them that are all basically consistent become data points to me. And people's personal experiences they're relating, that they came out of the woods after years of being afraid to tell anyone, or no one would understand, or people just shot them down when they tried to explain these things. I'm like, wait a minute, these people are all encountering the same things. Essentially,
and you said there's like credible people, like a neurologist,
people, doctors, every walk of life, gutter drug addicts, lawyers, scientists, doctors, people that have come from everywhere, and they're saying, man, I was afraid to tell anybody about this, or I tried to and they said I was crazy, or they said it was just my body breaking down. These people, there are so many of them now. I feel like, to me, this is more real in terms of being able to explain life's great questions than any other explanation I've heard. And it's sort of like there's an expression I've heard where they say, well, the best evidence of life out there on other planets is simply the fact that we exist here on Earth. Good point. This is an amazing thing that we are people. communicate and da 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 da.
Oh, now we're talking about aliens, honey. I'm just
So,
kidding.
well, I'm just saying that.
I'm sorry.
Do we? What kind of arrogance?
I'm a heckler. I'm a
Yeah,
heckler.
I know it's okay.
I'm
What kind of
doubting
arrogance do we
Thomas.
have to think we're the only ones out there? We're one tiny blue dot in a gigantic universe. So, and I've been doing some side studying.
You're getting like,
well, no, I get fired up, man.
You're fired up.
This is important stuff. You know, it is. But you know.
Yeah, well, I think that's why many of us have unfortunately accidentally ended up in things that were abusive. So as long as you're
we want to
careful,
believe. Well, that's the whole
right,
idea.
it's like
Proceed
people are
with
searching.
caution.
Yeah, people are searching because we don't know. So we're not gonna join a cult here.
Well, I realize I'm basically
Let's-
talking to people that are, many of us
You're
are
getting
jaded.
louder.
Oh, okay. No, a lot of people are jaded because they've been
You're so
hurt
cute.
by, false teachers and that type of thing. And it's really sad, but I feel like this is a community that needs, like, I'm still searching. I'm not done. I didn't give up, and I'm not blaming anyone that did and just threw everything out with the bathwater. I get that. We went through a disillusionment process. We got out of our cult. We were disillusioned. It took me 10 years to feel like I was getting back on my feet because we were so jaded. I mean, you've been traumatized and hurt and messed up, and now you don't know what to believe, and you want to just dump the whole thing and just live your life without thinking about it. I get that. I was that guy. But now it's like, okay, enough time has gone by to say, well, there's still truth out there. That's why scientists are out there studying stuff and sending out, the Hubble telescope and the James Webb telescope and studying quantum mechanics and all this sort of stuff. It's fascinating. We're still trying to figure it out, and we're making progress. But I think, these NDEs are an interesting window into what we can't figure out with telescopes and, electronic equipment or whatever. People that have been to the other side and come back, and they're basically proof to me that we're spirits, we're souls. We are not just physical bodies. To me, that's not even an argument anymore. So now, based on the fact that there's evidence there's more than that, where do we go? So that's kind of, I find this fascinating. So
yeah, there's a bunch of really good comments. I already got like 15 of them. So
I'll shut up for a minute. Let's review some.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. They're all really good. Let's do rapid fire.
Yeah, put them up.
All right. Love it. Painting really teaches me how mistakes can lead to something cool and you wouldn't otherwise experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah. Oh, hey, FXP, Freezy New Project.
Oh, yeah.
Morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Welcome aboard.
Never
We're
late.
Still here.
Yes. We are here. Sophia, we have this saying, what doesn't work out can be adapted, comes from the construction trades. There you go.
Yeah, that's how we learn. You try something. If it doesn't work, then you've learned something, and then you make changes. Yep.
Yeah. Instead of being stubborn and just be like, oh, I'm just going to keep going. No, the course corrections, right? Like you're talking about, like, in the Navy or whatever, in the in the ocean, you got to be careful you don't get mixed up with your direction. Pub Groomer 20. Yes, that was supposed to say feet. She stuck her feet on me again as I was typing the little stinker. Oh, that just makes me feel cold just thinking about cold feet on me right now. Ev Barney. Oh my God, I have an entire day of SPTV must see. And someone said that Reese and Sterling will be on later in the day too. So yeah. So just settle in and watch a bunch of stuff. Oh, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I would sub to your channel if you had one.
Oh, there
Duncan.
you go. I know I'll get at least one.
Yeah,
that's a good deal. I'm working on it. I'm going to get something together in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, here you go. BJ's Critters. Duncan, I would like to hear more. I did have an NDE
awesome.
when I was 6 years old. Fascinating.
Awesome. You know what? I really do want to get a channel going because I want to interview or talk to if whoever would allow me, if they've had any personal experience with this. I would be absolutely fascinated to speak to somebody that's had this happen and be able to relate. That would be
poor Duncan. Cool. I'm so skeptical because I kind of have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Although I do believe there's something out there, but I'm just not ready. I don't want to know.
Well, it seems a little scary, but part of the evolution is, be willing to risk, more information.
Jennifer, you go next door. Hello, double trouble. Duncan in Maryland. Yeah, here he is. Love you, honey.
I love you.
Purple coconut. Good. Some people have. Hi, purple coconut. Some people that have been through trauma need therapy. Yeah, I we've had quite a bit of counseling. I'm not sure what the difference between counseling and therapy. I mean, we haven't really.
Sort of similar.
Yeah. We've had a lot of counseling.
Like
and it really did help.
psychotherapy and counseling are used interchangeably from what I've
Is it?
known.
Yeah. We haven't done any of those new, like, I don't know what those are called. I forgot I think with the eye blinking or, I heard a lot of people, EMDR, is that it? A lot of people benefit from that, but we haven't done any of that. We just basically counseling, but it really helped a lot. Our whole family, definitely did. And Barney. But then there are the charming ones that say, I had an NDE and found out my church lied to me about Jesus. Dude, are you okay? This stuff is filtered through legend. Yeah, so somebody was saying that it like this kind of makes sense. Like if it is true that it kind of transcends. I hate to say those words because they sound so new agey and foo noo, but it's not really like, it's like whatever religion you are, like you're accepted that way. So, or if you don't believe in anything, it's like telepathic or whatever instead of
I mean,
don't the get too far into it, but yeah.
Well, I'll touch on this a little bit because
Okay.
I know, let's put it this way. We've all received some type of filtered or bounded or however you want to express it version of religion. I mean, that was one thing I was reading the other day that's interesting, and it's probably common knowledge. There's over 50 versions of the Bible, at least. I mean, that's at least 50. And they're all slightly different, and people have had slightly different takes. There's all kinds of different churches, denominations, and even within the Protestant churches, there's all kinds of different slants. So everybody's looking through a different window, a different lens. And I guess what I'll say is people have gone to the other side and they experience love there, and it's communicated telepathically to them.
Okay. I can believe that.
And without judgment.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the thing, what people have been taught to believe, and I'm saying this, and I let's put it this way. I believe that Christianity has come down through the ages. Things have been changed. People basically went through the books of the Bible and organized them and changed things up and had to interpret them and put them in languages that they weren't written in and all this kind of stuff. So it's like anybody's version of the Bible is not perfectly right, even though some people want to believe that somehow God made it all right. Well, why are there all these versions if there's only one that's right? That's my question. I have to look at it like, and churches, just like cults, can be corrupted. We were in a church that got corrupted. It started out all about the Bible, but over time, most churches will teach about 10% of the Bible at the most. They'll recycle the same material 100 times. And that's one thing I noticed. Not that I was totally bored when we left the church we'd been in, but there would be a ritualistic, every week there was a certain emphasis, and there's church founders day, and there's Easter, and there's Christmas, and there's Good Friday, and there's all these different things that are almost serially used every year. They break out the similar things to preach on. And 90% of the Bible is just never opened or looked at. That's the way I see it. There's all kinds of, in fact, one thing that I'll bring it up now just for fun, is I was looking up something Paul said about himself in a part of the Bible that no one brings up, where he was saying, I don't know if I was in the body, out of the body, but I was caught up in heaven, da 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 da.
Oh,
this is right out of the Bible. And it completely consistent with an NDE experience. Completely. This was Paul. And I'm like, well, nobody wants to preach on that. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Well, you know what? He had an experience. It was real. And he was trying to relate this to people.
By FXP.
And he did the best he could. And probably not many people at the time could even understand what he's talking about. And it's, so there's plenty of historical instances. This isn't just something that's going on YouTube now that people are talking about NDEs. This goes back thousands of years. The people that have had, recorded things in the past, a lot of them were based on things that they knew at the time, but nobody else understood. So just to say, it's not an inconsistent thing with even the Bible, but everybody's got a different.
Pop Groomer was up to you.
Hey, cool. Well, and, good.
Creepy B has had enlightenment.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I've got some more water chats here.
Hey.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of feedback, honey.
Good. See, I knew this would be controversial. I was a little nervous about even getting into it.
I'm like, don't give me. I've already done enough. I've already done enough in the past few weeks or months to get me canceled.
Take the heat this time.
Let's all go down together. Okay. Kristen, hey Kristen, Siren Creative. I've never experienced NDE, but I've had many sleep paralysis episodes in different places where I've lived. Is anyone else? Not sure what that is.
I think that's a thing where you're asleep and you can't really get to your body to make it move or act or do things.
Oh,
If I'm right,
I
I've
feel
had
like that every morning.
I mean, I've
can't get
had a
out of
couple of
bed.
instances of that where briefly it's like all of a sudden you just can't seem to connect to your body, or it won't respond. Like you're just clicking on a keyboard and nothing's happening. You get that helpless feeling like, oh no, you know?
Oh, well, for me, that's osteoarthritis and fibromyalgia that does that. But my mind is there. It's just not, my body's not moving. But yeah, we'll have to look at that's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Sophia said, there's a scientist that said at the bottom of every glass of science, there's faith, or he may have said God instead. Interesting.
You know what?
Okay. You know what?
Yeah. Well, no.
When he starts with you know what, you fasten your seatbelt.
I won't let it go too far. I actually started looking up definitions because I'm like, I've been reading interesting articles lately, like in the news, about how people that the scientists are really getting terribly baffled because the Hubble telescope revealed a lot of stuff that we didn't know, and it was reaching farther into the universe than we'd ever seen. Well, the James Webb telescope is so phenomenal that now scientists say we can see 13.5 billion years back in time to what they consider to be potentially the origin of the universe, which is fascinating. And you see these beautiful images of galaxies and nebulas and all this kind of stuff. And now they're getting really screwed up because they're like, wait a minute, we're seeing stuff we thought was from the beginning. But some of these planets and stars and galaxies we're seeing are exhibiting signs of things that couldn't have existed unless they had been pre-existed by something else that put all these higher level elements. Like, I won't get into the science of this, but in other words, not all the elements were not there in one place at the beginning. Like the sun started out being a ball of hydrogen, which will then have an internal fusion reaction that'll produce helium, and then it'll go down the line. And a big star can produce most of the elements, but cataclysmic explosions and supernovas and all this kind of stuff are required to build the higher level elements. And in other words, you look 13.5 billion years back in time, there's elements that shouldn't be there at the beginning that were there. And now they're suggesting that, wait a minute, something must have been before all of this. Where do we go from here? How do we explain this? So now that's a big rabbit hole they're going into. But then the other thing is
a black hole.
Kind of like that. Yeah. So in other words, they're not back there all the way yet. They haven't figured out now the origin isn't within grasp. They thought it was. These new telescopes are giving them more information that's refuting some of what a lot of the beliefs that they were already thought were like boilerplate beliefs they could rely on. So that's the macro level, big stuff. Now at the micro level is things like quantum mechanics, quantum physics. I started digging into that a tiny bit. And now this is talking subatomic particles. And now to explain the behavior of subatomic particles, they're trying to calculate the probability of where something is at a given time, and it's confusing them because it's very hard to lock down what's even going on at that level with these tiny particles. And there's, dark matter, there's all these other things they can't explain. I'm like, you know what? They don't understand. There is a whole nother dimension out there that they're just starting to realize exists, but they can't put their finger on it. And it's like people have NDEs, they go out there and people are like, that can't happen. That can't be there. Well, you don't understand that it's there. You don't have evidence that it's there. Your instrumentation is not allowing you to detect those things, but we're getting better at it. But the thing is, in the end, it's almost like things are energy. The other side is energy and not matter. So these people are used to dealing with matter, and now they're going somewhere or trying to get somewhere where it's all energy. And now the rules and laws and the equipment they have to work with are not working. So,
Duncan, have you been educating yourself in astronomy and astrophysics?
I haven't really taken a lot of time. I'm just digging in a little bit now. I like astronomy, and I'm interested in these things, but I haven't really dug deep into them.
You know what he does? He watches all, the patterns of the planets, the moon, the eclipses, all of the.
I mean, I find it all fascinating. Showers. I love it. I want to see auroras and all this other stuff.
We always have to run outside like late at night.
Yeah, meteor showers. Yeah.
When our kids were little, if there, I remember in the middle of the winter lining up their sleeping bags. They were all excited, but there were tiny little kids. I was afraid they were going to freeze to death. Duncan had lawn chairs out in the front of the lawn, and we don't have street lights, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we have the
But
dark,
it was
the
like
galaxies right overhead, the
freezing,
Milky Way.
and it was like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, but that was they'll never
But
forget
the
that.
kids remember. Yeah,
And that was a good one. I think it was the Perseids, and there were like, many per hour, just one after another. It was the best show I've seen. It was very cool.
So we got some more. Okay. Oh wow, there's a lot.
Okay, we got to get caught up here.
Yeah. Okay. I have Barney. Love it. Well, sure, but there is a world of difference between I saw what was appropriate to my culture and I found the truth. Listen to me. Those people scare me.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Totally agreed.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I like to listen to the utterly unbiased accounts from just regular people that had no involvement in religion or anything else, because there are, and I'll say this, there's a bunch of YouTube channels now that are pumping out a lot of this NDE material. It's very popular now. And there are some that try to put a religious slant on these things. I've noticed, I've listened to enough now. So I say 90% of them are clean, direct first person accounts. This is what happened to me. This is how it happened. And all they do is lay out facts. I like those ones that are filtered through some preacher or whatever. I tend to look a little bit askance. Like now I've got to kind of listen carefully because they'll filter out things that may not agree with their religious stance. And that's why it's like all these religions, I don't care what the religion it is, people have come out of every type of religion and had these experiences, and they're all essentially the same. They've run into a non-judgmental, loving God. All this hate and anger and all that negative stuff is not part of the next dimension, ultimately, for people that are able to receive it, which is most of the people that have the NDEs. There's been some that have reported bad experiences where they narrowly escaped or were shown what happens. There's this thing called the void, where a place where people can go.
So they're kind of getting their own language too.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're receiving what, to some degree, an education.
Culty, honey.
Well, I mean, it's a culture. It's a group of people that share a common
That's a cult
experience. So you can call it a cult. It's not destructive. In fact, I find it to be the exact opposite.
Stay in this cult with us.
Yeah. And I'm not taking off in a spaceship anytime soon. No, thanks.
Joel has a question. Do you think people have had an NDE and don't know it?
Well, it's possible. I mean, I guess knowing you had it would probably be the evidence that you had it, because these people come back. One thing that is a common characteristic with pretty much everybody that's had these things is they say on the other side, colors, sound, and music and everything are so vivid. They just stumble over their words trying to describe how beautiful it is, the amount, the level of love they experience, and the clarity with, people. It's all communication that's telepathic. And they come back with clear memories of things. They can recount things that happened to them many years ago in perfect detail. Like there's nothing that fogs them out. Like your body will limit how much you'll remember. Like sometimes I think, oh man, I must have drank a lot of mercury or something when I was a kid. I don't remember things too well. And like when you're not in your body, you're not limited by your bottle. I'm just making an example. I didn't have any lead paint or anything, but my brother used to take apart thermometers and play with mercury. So back before we knew it was a bad thing. But I realized your body is a huge limiting entity as far as what we're capable of perceiving, because we think, we hear everything. No, you don't. You hear within a limited range, so many hertz, you know what I mean? Or the visual spectrum. We can see certain things. Well, our dogs can see things and hear things we can't see and hear. True. That's the facts. We have certain equipment that allows us to perceive the world the way we do. And there's a ton of stuff going on out there. You can't see cell phone signals, all this radio waves and all this stuff. But when you're not limited, like people will come back and report they can see 360 vision. There's no body limiting. You're not limited to just looking straight ahead or a little bit peripherally. They're seeing the whole full circle all the time. And it does sound mind blowing, but that's what they experience. And they report back. in vivid detail exactly what they've seen and experienced. So I'll relate. This is a funny thing. It just
Okay,
was
can I just say something?
okay.
Sorry.
I'll take a break before I get on another rant. Pardon me.
You're really excited
It's a
about
good thing I
this.
didn't have more coffee.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So from the dark side here, where's it? Oh no, I lost it. Oh, here we go. Love it. Says Marilyn, it's understandable for you to keep your footing in the physical. Thank you. Thank you. After the spiritual abuse you experience, you embody kindness, and that's all that matters. Thank you.
Ultimately, that's
poor
the
Duncan.
truth.
Like I'm just kind of like, what you talk? What I should have had my what you talked about, Willis cup. So I'm glad that he has all of you to listen to, because I'm just like, and I'm like, well, you think that they claim that they said that, or you think that is, and whatever. Who am I to say it's not true? But I don't know. It's like I'm getting to where, like, I just want to live this life that I know of the best way I can, and whatever happens. I mean, if what you're saying is true and there's no judgment, and I get there and it's turns out it's true. Sorry, sorry, whoever, whatever. I just wanted to try to be a good person. After
well, you know what? But the
being in a
wonderful
cult.
thing is, there's no judgment, so
Okay,
it's not a worry.
Yeah.
I'm not worried
So,
about it. Everything's good.
Everything's
It's all good.
Everything's good. Oh my goodness! So did you have another point to make? There's all kinds of long comments
Well,
here. Should
let's
I go
run.
through some?
Run through some.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read some.
Sure.
Okay. Jennifer from Ego Next Door, 100% NDEs are filtered according to beliefs. But one thing is interesting and certain. The common denominator is almost always feelings of comfort, belonging, and increased consciousness in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. George Massey says, I have been ruminating on my Facebook group post and realized that distilling Scientology to come up with one-line explanation of Scientology. Scientology is based on stripping followers of their humanity. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Can't disagree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the sickest part of it. Like, people will
Mhm.
say, again, I keep referring to the NDE thing, is like, I would say the people I would be most worried for ultimately are false teachers. And Jesus said it in the Bible, but I mean, now I get it, because misleading people horribly, like Scientology did, and damaging people and jading them to the point where they won't believe anything, is the ultimate mockery of the actual truth.
Yeah,
So,
and also just separating them from themselves and their body and the value that they see around them of relationships, isolation, all of that, and that is pretty much summed up in what George said was stripping them of their humanity and not giving them free choice. So yeah, I feel like that, to me, I'm still working out being here. I don't, like, I had to kind of get that pie in the sky thing out of my head, because it was too, it was just too conflicting to me, of like just trying to live and be a good person. So that's where I'm at. But Duncan, this is from Kat. Have you heard about how long people stay conscious after their moment of death? Nope.
Can't say as I can answer that.
Nope.
I mean, it seems like it's a fairly quick transition. Once your body is unable to support life and you go out of it, then, I mean, that I don't, like, the only answer I have for that is basically say I don't know, but I do know that many people come back and can relate enough of their experience to give almost proof that they were not in their body, that they were alive elsewhere, and can attest to what they saw and heard when they were out of it. Things that can be verified, like exact locations, people, what they did, da da da. So to me, that kind of overwhelms the evidence. People suggest that, well, maybe that was produced by the body breaking down, or by drugs, or by other things. When people can report back what they experienced somewhere else where they're far removed from their body, that to me is like, whoa,
Yeah, it's wild. Oh, I think this one came first. I accidentally clicked one before the other. Joel says, I say this as a Christian. The Bible is a written word. It is a thing of man. Who knows that it is all right or wrong? Yeah. It was written by many men over the course of many
Well, you know what is
thousands of
interesting
years,
too?
right?
I'll throw this out there because I was just reading this like last night on Reddit because I am part of a kind of spiritual group on Reddit and I follow some of what goes on there. And what's absolutely fascinating to me is there are people that have really studied in and done a deep dive into previous religions and history going back. And they say, well, a lot of the things in the Bible stories were borrowed from prior civilizations or religions and things that pre-existed. Like we think the Bible like somehow was just gathered up out of a given moment in time and it explains everything. But then these people will study back and say, well, a lot of the Christian rituals and holidays and church, the way things are constructed, come from things prior to that. And a lot of them have to do with what I would consider astrology. I mean, planets and all these symbolic things. And I'm like, well, it's interesting. There's also an assumption made that God never visited the earth until, say, Jesus was born or something like that, or the Old Testament and Moses and all this. I'm like, you know what? We've been around a lot longer. The planet's been around longer. Humanity's been around a lot longer than even a few thousand years ago. Who's to say people didn't have NDEs or experience things like this thousands of years ago, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? So to me, the world is expanding by the day because I'm like, well, wow, we're so used to thinking this myopic the earth, they used to think the earth was flat and was the center of the universe and the sun
It's
went
not.
around the earth. And oddly enough, some people still want to believe that stuff, but I think there's evidence that maybe this isn't so. So here's the deal. History it pre-exists and predates anything we know. Things there may be no information available. There might have been prior civilizations that were destroyed. There's people that believe in all that kind of stuff, Atlantis and this and that. There's evidence that other civilizations existed before we did. We're not the newest thing. We think that we're the cutting edge and that we've got it all figured out. I don't think that's true. I think we can go back. There's people that had NDEs and experienced these kinds of things, had very little way to communicate it or record it. But I think a lot of the Bible was based on prior things that might have been based on actual legitimate things. And they just didn't, in their context of when they lived, they did their best to record these things. And maybe back then, all I could do is scratch them in a rock in a cave somewhere. But, we don't have it all figured out and we never will. But, I think the NDE thing may be something universal that goes back thousands of years. So it's actually more plausible even than it seems now.
Yep, definitely. Sorry, I should have gotten some water.
You want me to run and get you one?
Do you want me to run through a little bit of comments?
Sure.
All right, I'll run through some for you.
Yeah, I'll get you water.
You're fired up. All right, thanks, honey. P.S. The Earth is triangular. Okay, so you know that. Okay, I'll skip over the ones that are specifically for you, honey. Thank you he's so good to me. Got me some water. Okay, let me try to. Sorry, guys. Working this out. Okay. Jen said, Joel, I have nothing against people who have different religions. I just hope that whatever anyone believes in is based on love and freedom, not fear. Yeah, absolutely. And I know Joel agrees with that too. Right, Joel? Absolutely. Okay, I'll skip over the sleep paralysis because I want Duncan to hear that. Terry Bakewell, hi there. Hi, Marilyn and Duncan, who all in chat as well. Yes. Seems like we're doing pretty good here. Yeah, for anyone who came in that was with me yesterday and a few days ago and stuff, I decided to remove, which I hate to do, and I don't do it very often at all. But there was somebody that was just being super argumentative and very trollish. So I hope everybody's comfortable here today. And not that we don't have to agree, but we do need to be respectful. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I had to remove somebody, but that's just the way it is. And I want everyone to feel comfortable voicing, their thoughts and opinions. So, all right. Yeah, I'm going to skip over that so he'll hear that stuff. These are all really good. I don't want to have him miss any of it. Creepy B. Exactly. Energy and law of attraction. Think positive and more positive comes. Simply said. I like that. I'll keep that started so Duncan can see that. And let's see. Maya said, think about all the colors we can't see, all the sounds we can't hear. Think about all the other stuff we miss. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Keela, hi Keela. I was in a coma for 3 weeks. With my therapy, things are coming back, but it's so confusing because I was not conscious, but still have memories, if you can call it that. Oh, wow. Well, I kept this on the screen because I wanted you to see this.
Oh, cool.
Keela, our friend Keela, she says, I was in a coma for 3 weeks with my therapy. Things are coming back, but it's so confusing because I was not conscious, but I still have memories, if you can call it that. Wow.
That is bizarre, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you're okay. My goodness. That must have been so scary waking up from that. Yeah. Okay. So how many more we have? Okay. So the sleep paralysis, or some comments on that. That's fascinating too. Yeah, sleep paralysis is common. The ones I hate are when I'm still in a dream and now it's a dream and know it's a dream and want to get up and be done. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had a lot of lucid dream type experiences where I'm in a dream and then I realize I'm in a dream and I can control elements of it for a while. It's usually sort of when you're transitioning in or out of a dream where you're semi-conscious or you suddenly realize you're in a dream and you can do things in the dream. It's pretty cool.
Sorry. It's not super urgent, but I got a little text there. Okay. Kat said, Ev Barney, I get the kind when I know I'm awake and I'm lying above myself, telling my legs and arms to move and they won't. Then I try to scream and I can't.
That's
Wow.
bizarre. That's sort of like an OBE and out of body.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. All right. Kristen Siren Creative. My experiences are that I've been awake and I can't open my eyes, move my arms and legs. It feels like something else is there. Wow. That's interesting. Look into that.
Oh, where'd that go?
Oh, sorry. I unstarted it.
Oh, I didn't finish.
It went away. Oh, sorry. Well, watch the replay.
Oh, well,
She said, and she can't open her eyes and she can't move her arms and legs.
That was the one. Okay, I already had seen that one. Okay, I thought it was a new one.
Yeah. Joel said, I'm a believer, but not a churchgoer. To me, it's my personal relationship with God, church, and organization and religion is a business. Follow the money. Yep. I can agree with that. Absolutely. Tampa B man, 2 particles can communicate instantaneously, being millions of light years apart. Fact. So if I'm a particle of energy, I can communicate faster than light to another particle. That's my heaven. Wow.
Yeah, that's not that. Well. So I'll do a quick takeoff on that. Is ultimately a lot of people come back and basically claim that, and I see more evidence for this, even though it's one of these things that somebody told me this a few years ago, I would have been a little bit askance, is the idea that we all ultimately are connected. And on the other side, it's all energy and waves type thing. So music is a frequency, and music is a big thing, and it actually has powerful healing properties and everything. Music's a big thing on the other side. And
they say that music is a big thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, on the other side, this is what people claim. So
how do you know that, honey?
Well, I'm okay. I've become reasonably convinced of it, so I'm saying it as if I know. So take that with a grain of salt if necessary. But so energy.
I love you. I'm prevailing. We're not preaching,
Well, yeah, I'm trying to stay away from getting religious about this. I'm just saying it's a different science, if you will. Like everything is light and energy, and telecommunications telepathic. And I was actually thinking the other day, like I've had people say, wow, like just the other day, I was down street. My brother Al and I had come off of a hike, and we were down grabbing a slice of pizza, and we stepped out, and people were just standing there staring up at the sky. And I looked up, and there were thousands of birds flying overhead, thousands of them, just endless stream of birds. And I'd never heard of this particular phenomenon in North Adams, but they were flying in a certain direction and do it every day for a while, thousands of birds. And I was thinking, well, people have still not been able to answer, like the migration of monarch butterflies every year to a certain part of
That's
Mexico or
interesting.
something. They travel certain distances. Birds know when to migrate and get in organized patterns. And I'm like, you know what? We are naively thinking we project our own human frailties or limitations on other things, but nature operates in an amazing way. And these birds, millions of birds, will just fly together in patterns to exact locations at exact times. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of obvious. It's telepathic communication. They don't have radios. They don't need all the technology we have. Why do we not think that they're
That's a good
capable of
point.
these things?
Yeah.
I think it's completely plausible.
That's a good point.
And, even more so having listened to these NDEs, I'm like, we underestimate the fact that we're all interconnected.
Oh,
Oops.
got my phone. You want to click on the next one?
Sure.
Oh, I got it. I love this one. Keela said, at Sophia, I've held the hand of every single hospice patient as they left this world, and they all have one thing that is the same. They see family. Oh, I'm getting emotional.
Yep. Totally consistent with what people say
You
when
finished
they come
reading
back.
it.
Yeah.
I
They
can't
see
finish
family
reading it.
members and they are serene when they pass. Yeah, I've seen it happen. I watched, last time we had a stream about this, I talked about seeing a guy that when he was passing away, he was looking up and he had this glow and he looked like you. And this is another thing too. On the other side, people don't have a physical body form, but they all look like they at their very best, like they're 20 or 30. Like literally, old age is not a thing. It's almost like you were able to lock in the best condition you're ever in, and that's what your spirit body is essentially, which is pretty cool because these people will, almost not all of them, but most of them will encounter family members that are waiting for them. So I consider that very encouraging. I don't fear death. I mean, I used to fear death. I mean, now I don't. I want to stay here as long as I can. I'm not done here, but I don't fear the other side either. I'm not worried. So that's taken a load off. Honestly, it's a good de-stressor to think, well, you know what? I'm not worried about it. It's all good. When it's my time, it's good. And the other side's better. Like these people will say, and this is, I mean, again, a few years ago, I would have been maybe not willing to accept this, but to people on the other side, this is the away experience. Like in Star Trek, this is the away experience. That's home. And most of them will describe that as home. And the body is a limiting thing. And most of them don't want to come back. And they are given a choice usually, but most of them would prefer to stay
like
on the other side.
reincarnation?
We'll take that up another time.
Okay.
We
yeah.
will. I don't want to get into that.
I'm
That's too
not
big
on
a
my
thing.
channel.
I wouldn't have accepted it. No, honestly, I never would have considered it as a possibility years ago. And now I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand how it all fits together now better than I ever did.
So I can try to say this without crying, guys. I'm gonna try. So I'm was one of 7 siblings. Well, 8 if you count the girl that my mother Rose had adopted before I was born. And there's only one left alive, and that's my brother David. And so there's more over on the other side than there is here, unless I've been reincarnated. But I know I'm not trying to make fun of it. I just I smirk a little because I'm just afraid to consider it. I don't want to consider it.
I never considered it before.
Yeah, and I'm busy, trying to make this life work.
Yeah, this is kind of what we got to do over here. But
yeah,
it's interesting to know there's more.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thought of seeing my relatives and my mom again, yeah, I'm there for that. Yep, definitely. So we're what are we, an hour and 10 minutes or so? So yeah, let's do maybe another 20 minutes at the most.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah, 90 minutes seems like a magic number. It's about when I hit the wall.
Yeah, and then I gotta go pee, and yeah, right. And we gotta get ready for I think Liz is going live, and Also, don't forget Kelly at 2 o'clock Eastern. She's got some really important things to say. Definitely want to tune in for that. Of course, everybody does. Well, Liz, everybody has important things to say, but Kelly doesn't go live that often. So when she does, she's got a lot to say. And yeah, so I'm there for that. I'm gonna be helping her in StreamYard because she's probably gonna have a big turnout. So, and tonight, Doug is just program notes. Tonight, Doug is going on, I think, at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern to discuss the situation and the history behind it with the former Sea Org members that run the Aftermath Foundation. He knows some history behind it. He's going to have a Q&A about that. That's tonight usually does 11 o'clock, I believe. And then tomorrow, I think, I'm not sure exactly what time. I want to say 2 o'clock Eastern. Liz Gale is coming back, and she'll be on with Cassie from No Culty Vibes, and she will be also talking about this current situation. She said in her community page that she can't keep silent any longer, so she'll be talking about it too. So and yesterday was her birthday, so I talked to her a little bit online. So glad that she's doing well and she's ready to come back. So yeah. So okay, Jen said, Keela, that's comforting to know about the relatives. Yeah. Yeah. I really hope that's true. Yep. The Ethical Taylor. Is that Claire? Claire the Ethical Taylor? A different Claire from the UK. Thank you for keeping us safe. Yeah, you got it. You got it. What are you laughing at?
I think it's good to have a system of checks and balances in place, right?
Yeah. What, the Ethical Taylor?
yeah. And you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you're not gonna let me go off the rails.
Oh, I love you,
clearly.
honey. I know. I'm like, well, they allegedly think this, I'm glad you're excited because you are very logical and scientific. So, I know you always had a spiritual side. You've always had, yeah.
Well, I'm like anybody that's been jaded by bad experiences. I'm going to verify and vet and dig and do what I can to prove things.
That just takes too many brain cells. I don't really want to do that.
Well,
I want to hang out with my people. Creepy B said, "You guys are adorable, Marilyn Duncan." I guess we're like yin and yang or whatever. We're so different. We're very different. Yeah. BJ's Critter said, Duncan, I trained myself to lucid dream when I was in college.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
It is a very interesting thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of conversations going on.
I'll answer that.
Oh, which one, honey?
The one we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
So what I was going to say,
she agrees with you.
The sort of idea that popped up in my head was how a lot of people with the NDE thing come back and they say, well, they never realize like thoughts are actually things, they're powerful, and that thoughts on the other side translate immediately into action, unlike here, and they have power. And even here, they influence, and it's almost like too this whole idea. I listened to one recently where this woman had gone through a lot of extreme traumatic. She was basically born into a satanic cult and suffered under ritual abuse and really horrible stuff. And she recovered, but she'd had about 10 NDEs over the years and had learned to essentially heal herself from a lot of it. And okay, I'm just having a brain fart here. My point I was going to make just disappeared.
Sorry, I've been reading other things. I have a hard time multitasking, so
yeah,
I'm just
you know what? Hopefully it'll come back. I had a point. I lost it.
Sorry, I would try to. I mean, I was listening, but only half because I'm trying to read comments and put them up. So, yeah. Oops, sorry. There were a couple that I missed.
Oh, okay, it came back. Okay, so it was the power of thoughts, but one of her conclusions was this idea that there's a lot of negative stuff that goes on down on this plane, and people have free choice generally. So there's a lot of darkness versus light in terms of the way people think and act. And she had grown up under horrible abuse in this horrible cult-like situation. and a lot of things were revealed to her during her NDEs, and she realized like ultimately the one way will shift things. And I've sort of believed this for other reasons, is the idea is when there's enough people on board to change something, and then it will change. And even something like, say, climate change, like unless a certain number of people believe in it and start acting together to correct the problem, then those that are not on board are going to continue the problem to the point where they're going to overwhelm the people that are trying to fix the problem. And once you get enough people on board in any situation like the civil rights movement, it takes a lot of people that are trying to do the right thing to overcome, a minority that are trying to prevent the thing from happening. But as far as just the world and healing the world and turning it into a better place, it's like her takeaway was that if everybody makes it a point, once they're awakened and enlightened or whatever, to do their best to make the world a better place, if you have a quorum of people, or a critical mass, probably a better word, because it takes a majority, to have a majority of people that are really trying to make the world a better place and to love one another and be empathic and do positive things, eventually that will overcome the evil side, the dark forces, or whatever you want to call them, that are there. So that's why I feel like this community is people trying to help people that are trying to help people. It's positive and uplifting. We're doing the work as a community that, and again, it's hard not to use the word God to describe whatever force, I could call it love, I could call it whatever, but love is the positive, creative, healing force ultimately. And the more of us that are tuned in and on board with that, the better. And it means, doing as much as we can to make things better for people and make the world a better place.
Yep.
That's it's simple. It boils down to that. Like, the whole thing that I quoted last time about Jesus saying to these people that were trying to pick his brain and try to make him trip up so they'd have some reason to be against him. He'd say, no, the law and the prophets, it's all summed up in this one statement. Just, love your neighbor as yourself, and simple things, simple. And it's like, no, that's too simple. But in the end, people, what we consider high achievements, becoming a millionaire, or, rising up in some, business environment, or, achieving some great scientific breakthrough, that's all groovy stuff, but it's nothing on the other side. It's really nothing. It's helping each other that really adds up.
One of the things that I kind of take back from the Bible is God is love. I can
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I can get behind that. That's true.
Yeah, it's not complicated,
Yeah. Yeah, so let's wind down. People are coming into our chat saying Liz is live. So and I do want to see some of it, but I don't know. I don't break into other people's chats and say I'm going live or get out of their chat. So I think that's a little rude, but not Liz, but somebody else, Galaxy something. So let's wind down so we can keep this going today. Okay. Tampa B Man said quantum entanglement has been proven with frogs and birds. Cool. Yep. Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't heard that term before, but I'll look into it.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah. Like this connectedness. We underestimate the degree to which we are connected.
Yeah, I like that.
It's down here we're isolated and separated, but it's not like that.
Yeah. Keela McDonald, I'm addicted to the stars and planets and the moon. I'm a nerd. I have the telescopes and tons of pics.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome. I love watching meteor showers. Are you friends with her on Facebook? Do you post pictures and stuff? He'd be totally into that. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'll put it out there. I'll invite anybody to friend me on Facebook. A lot of people already have in this group, but if you haven't and you're welcome to, you're totally welcome to. I would love to have more people that are kind of interested in similar things to jump on.
Honey.
So I'm
you
out
can
there.
Do a Facebook group about NDEs.
Well, you know what? I actually set up another one.
You did?
And put an invite to it.
Okay, so I'll do a link next time.
We'll put it out there again, because I was starting to post things on it, and then I kind of backed off because I had more people on my regular page, and I started just getting a who cares attitude and putting a lot of things on that page.
Right.
When I was starting, this was a few months ago. I haven't really been on this NDE trip too long yet, but when I really started to get interested in it, my thoughts started to come in, and I'm like, whoa, this is trippy. So I started putting things on this other page just to get them recorded and out there. So if people are interested, they could read them. But now I've gone way further. That was when I was first starting to consider all this stuff. And now there's so much more going on. But yeah, so we'll put the link up, and then my regular page, you're welcome to jump in on.
This is interesting. Lovett said, my friend and I were driving to a town in Mexico. I got a bad feeling and turned the car around. Turns out a friend of a friend was being abducted at that moment down the road. I do believe in that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've had that kind of thing happen too.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of things like that too. Yeah, so sometimes
someday
you
we might
something.
We might tell the story of when we left the cult, all the really crazy supernatural stuff that happened.
Yeah, we went through some trippy stuff.
Yeah, let's not get into it now.
For
but
another day, yeah.
You guys are going to think we're crazy.
Get out. It helped. Well, I thought that was, it seemed bizarre then. It was mind-boggling.
Kind of took that
but now
to get us out of there in some ways. Yeah. Although we had already made our decision. Yeah. We were just so freaked out. It was just insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So good to see you and talk to you guys this morning. And we've got our marching orders. Go over to Liz and then check out Kelly later. And I guess Reese and Sterling are going to be on, which is exciting too. And then Doug tonight. So there's all kinds of great programming. So I'll probably see you all in the chats. So thanks, honey.
Cool.
We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.